Hello and welcome to the Super Metroid multi-category tournament match between Cutie and Zeni. This is week 5, and that both of these players are 4-0, and that means that the winner of this match will go on to the playoffs. And we are joined here by Kip.
Hey, Freyas, I will be back in like 2 seconds. I'm going to get this race started, so yeah, I'm excited to watch this match.
This is going to be absolutely wonderful. These are absolutely top-tier players, and they are going to be racing GT Classic. So we are hoping that both of them get first try Lava Dive, and they get first try Green Gate Glitch, and then we have a race that is purely based on mechanics. We think in this case, the vetoes were kind of expected. Zeni, the categories were RBO. Zeni is amazing at RBO, so Cutie kind of had to veto that. And Cutie has a massive edge at any percent, so Zeni basically had to veto any percentile bosses, so GT Classic is not surprising at all here. And we'll see what happens here. The winner is guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. The person who loses will have to win next week to be guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. Otherwise, there will be a tiebreak to see. Otherwise, they will end up at 4-2, and there will be a tiebreak to see who makes it to the playoffs.
That is correct, Freyas, and obviously nothing is guaranteed in Super Metroid or the tournament in general, but both players here still have a pretty significant chance to make the playoffs one way or another, because I think both would more than likely be favored in their next matchup next week, even if they lose this one. And even if they somehow lost that, they would still qualify for the play-in, which once again, they would probably be favored to finish in the top of that. So obviously anything can happen, but this is still a big race because you would rather guarantee yourself than put it to chance.
We definitely agree with that. Both of these players are going to be playing their heart out, and more than likely, both of these players will make it into playoffs, but just securing that spot means that you can take a much more relaxed next week.
Yeah, and GT Classic's a really interesting one. I'm actually kind of curious to see the role that GT Classic will play when we get to the playoffs, but as we've already seen in multiple races, in fact, I can go ahead and give you a couple. Last week's race between myself and Sloters ended with me not being able to get the code correctly input, so I lost immediately. Although I probably would have lost anyway, but it's just, I lost like 15 minutes into the run instead of at the end. And then earlier tonight, Sloters unfortunately missed the Green Gate glitch and ran out of supers, and that allowed Zos to sort of cruise to victory. So GT Classic does have some danger in it, and it also has a lot of options depending on how you want to run the beginning of it. The first 12 to 15 minutes can actually be pretty different depending on how aggressive you want to run. So I expect both of these runners to maybe not put in every safety, but I don't think we'll see the most aggressive run, simply because we're not in the playoffs yet, but we'll see.
And just before the Lava Dive, you're going to see them pick up Varia, and they're going to have to make some decisions. How many E-tanks do they want, and do they want high jump? And our guess is that they're both going to do a 2-tank high jump Lava Dive, but they're both very capable of doing high jumpless Lava Dives and going for the world record route that we saw Sloters go for earlier after the death.
Yeah, the high jump boots in particular make the Lava Dive significantly easier. Not guaranteed, but you have a lot more leeway, especially if you have 2 tanks, whereas the high jump bootless definitely saves time, but one mistake and you're in a real bad spot. Plus, the thing that I think a lot of people haven't talked about a ton, Sloters referenced it in his interview, and I agreed, is that you can make saves in this category in a race, but the problem is even if you save, if you screw up like Green Gate glitch or something like that, you lose so much time even going back to the save that if your opponent didn't, and they're, if there's not a large disparity in skill, it's really hard to make up that amount of time in a run. So you really got to think about, how much risk you want to put in, and also kind of what happens to your opponent.
Yeah, saves are much more strategically interesting when they're both at the same level.
Yeah, that's true.
For example, we know that Kip has a habit of, when Kip is playing a player who is mechanically weaker, has a habit of going for extra saves just for safety, because he's playing to win.
That is correct. I usually tailor my strategy around my opponent, which, you know, personally, I think that's a good idea. I'd rather not take more risks than I have to. But real quick, if we take a look, Cutie and Zenny, I mean, I think everybody here who's a fan of Super Metroid is aware of these two runners. Pretty much synced up right off the bat. I mean, look how tight this is. And both have exceptional early games, as well as just, I mean, they're fantastic runners, period. However, I will tell you this. Neither one of these players have done extensive work with GT Classic. Now, that doesn't mean, I'm not suggesting that they're not going to have a good run, because they will. But right now, it's kind of interesting to see how they adapt on the fly to only like 1 day or maybe 2 days worth of practice. I still think they'll run very competitive, strong, fast times here. But, you know, it's not like going to be as comfortable as maybe, you know, any percent would be for Cutie, or, you know, Hundo would be for Zenny right now. So that's the beauty of a multi-category tournament, is you don't have a ton of time to prepare for every category.
Can we take a moment to talk about how beautiful that sync was? They were synced up through the climb in the bottom half of Parlor, through the pit room, climb in bottom half of Parlor, perfectly, doing the exact same strats with the exact same execution. We don't think we've seen that level of sync for a very long time.
Zenny accidentally getting hit there by Bomb Chorizo, it probably won't matter. It just depends on how, okay, it matters a little bit, but, oh, it mattered a lot for Cutie. Having 4 missiles for Zenny's not a problem. In fact, he actually taught me a strat a while back that you can actually farm the first, like, gamer or whatever it is in this room. So he might actually have 5 missiles before he even gets to the bottom of the hill. Cutie having 0 and also being at 89 health is really bad. Yeah, see, there's Zenny. He already got a missile. So yeah, that's a real bad situation for Cutie.
That is not good for Cutie at all. Cutie's gonna have to rely on pirate RNG a lot. And Cutie gets very good pirate RNG. Does have to pause for the pirates more, but it gets excellent RNG, which rescued him.
True. I'm still a little concerned about Cutie now. I trust him. I know he knows his game better than I do, clearly. But me personally, I find it more difficult to get the clean 2 farm with 4 pea shooter shots than 2 and a missile like Zenny just did. And sometimes that bottom Zila can get a little out of the way, but nah, he's fine. So there you go. He did a real nice job there.
We agree that it's definitely harder, but it's also Cutie.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So coming up, they're gonna get to choose whether they pick up charge or not, and whether they pick up charge missiles or not. Charge missiles make the ammo situation much gentler going up to Kraid. We don't expect either player to pick up charge, but it's gonna be really interesting to see how comfortable they are running with only 5 missiles.
Yeah, you know, one thing that a lot of people might not realize, and this probably matters more in PB attempts, but it doesn't matter too in a race, but the drops that these early creatures give actually matter a lot. You really want to have 2 missiles going into Green Hills here. As we can see, Zenny's in good shape. Not only does he have the 2 missiles, but he's at full health, which he can potentially, if he wanted to, I won't go through like every option. There's a ton, but there's a lot of different ways he could utilize that health if he wanted to. Whereas Cutie does not have the 2 missiles yet, and he really wants to have them at least by the end of Hellway. See, right here, he probably normally wouldn't farm that bug. He also didn't get a drop from that hopper, so Cutie's not in a good shape when it comes to the drops at the moment.
So Zenny stopped to farm the first cac in the new bridge, whereas Cutie did not farm any cacs. So Cutie is down a super, but gained a little bit of time.
Beautiful red tower by Cutie. That's pretty much as fast as you can do it, but he's gonna need to farm in here, potentially multiple. Okay, he at least got the missiles. I will say this, and again, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm Mr. GT Classic, professional, because well, I did mess up the code in my last race, but if you look at Cutie's ammo, the ammo management can be really tricky at the beginning of this run. It's very particular, and when he chose to skip that cack in front of Noob Bridge, I don't know if that was a great call. And he, in particular, taking a hit by that caterpillar or whatever you call it is real bad. Hopefully he'll farm up a little bit here because he could get in some serious trouble. Yeah, I'll just let you guys watch how it unfolds, but let's just say that his current situation, energy and ammo, is not what you want in this particular juncture.
So the strategy where Cutie got booped by the caterpillar, the strategy involves rubbing right up against a caterpillar without getting hit. And for anybody who knows how much damage a caterpillar does, looks absolutely terrifying.
Okay, Cutie did end up getting a missile drop from that bat, which was a bit unexpected. All right, and Zenny's heading into Kraid's lair. He's perfectly fine. He does a little farm there to get one extra missile. Technically, he's in a position where he could use missiles on the pirates now, which it would be way faster. That doesn't typically happen, although he did opt to use a missile there, so it looks like he is going to go back to the traditional power bomb. Cutie, on the other hand, needs to be very careful. Everybody pay close attention to his energy. He needs to make sure he doesn't get hit here, and then he still needs to be careful in this next room and with his D boost for the Kraid room.
He's going to need to jump over mini Kraid's claws.
Okay. Yep, see, he got health bombed. He does not have any supers. He has one, but he's going to have to double farm here now. We didn't get to see it because the screen froze, but that was basically the unfortunate situation that I was concerned about.
So now Cutie is a Kraid quick kill behind, and coming up, Zenny is going to get to make the next big decision. Do you pick up the Kraid E-Tank? And we are guessing no. But we'll see what each of these runners do.
Both of them have excellent ammo leaving the Varia. Even the 5.33 is perfectly fine. In particular, Zenny's in a good spot where he can actually missile all the pirates and save some frames. His energy's a little low, but assuming that he doesn't take any damage here, which he shouldn't take significant damage from any source from this point forward, he should be fine to pick up that high jump boot energy tank, and he'll be in good shape for his run through Upper Norfair.
So we'll see if Cutie's going to pick up this tank soon. If Cutie does pick up this tank, that's an indication that Cutie's going to go for high jump list. So it looks like both players are probably going for a 2E tank with high jump. Lava dive.
Yeah, that looks like the most likely scenario. It is possible to do it with just one energy tank with high jump boots. I did that in my race with Sloters, but you know, again, it just comes down to how much risk do you want to take and how much time do you want to save. It's not even really a ginormous time saver in the grand scheme of things, but sometimes you got to try to get every edge you can. But yeah, you're 100% right, Freyas. Both runners picking up the tank and going to grab the high jump boots.
The next decision is big decision is, are they going to save before the lava dive? And are they going to save after the lava dive?
Ooh, that's not good. Getting hit by that creature is not as big a deal right now to Zenny because he has extra energy and high jump boots. But if you were doing a high jump bootless attempt, that would be a very unfortunate mistake to make. Because when you're about to farm the Magdalite room, it can get tricky. Now, on the flip side, since this is a race, we might see the runners here in the next room go down and farm the bugs to get back to 5 supers. This does take some extra time, but you know, in a race scenario, it looks like it's better. But Zenny's going for it.
Zenny's going for it with just 3 supers.
I'm a fan of the play. I mean, look, every runner's different, but Zenny should have supreme confidence in his green gate glitch. Now, it doesn't mean that, you know, you can't mess up. but he's done it enough in RBO that I would assume that he should be able
He's
to do
going
it.
for it.
Oh, I don't know about that. Let's be a little bit careful here, Zen Meister.
He was going for the zero tank lava dive strat.
That was pretty swag, but I didn't want him to die. All right, there we go. Now, Cutie, on the other hand, did opt to farm, and he's got 5 supers now. So this will only matter if Zenny doesn't get in on the first try. But even with this save, Zenny's got enough of a lead that he can save and still feel pretty comfortably in the lead. At this point, Cutie might opt. If I were Cutie and I knew the situation, I would opt to not make a save.
So who do you think has, so assuming that they both get the GT code first try and Green Gate Glitch first try, who do you think has the edge in their movement for the rest of the game, with both these players being excellent hundo runners?
Well, they're both very good. And I don't really know. Well, okay, first of all, ShinyZeni showing us why he was confident with the 3 supers as expected. But I have tremendous respect for both of these runners, and I don't know how much each of them have been practicing. But if I had to pick a guess, like right now, I would say Zenny, because there's a significant portion of the lower Norfair section in particular that's a lot like 100%. And that's his most practiced category at the moment. So I could see him gaining some distance in this section.
Cutie with the moonfall. First try, second try gate glitch. First try.
Ooh, Cutie. Okay, there we go. Cutie was going for a really interesting opening for GT. It's definitely the best way to do it. It allows you... By the way, I love that strat that Zenny just did too. That's one of my favorite in this run. But anyway, it's just really hard to pull off. You can kind of fire a shot to go slow and it hits GT and then you can get an extra shot in. But he kind of got it a little awkwardly, so we'll see.
So now that both of them have gotten to this point, all the high variance parts to this category are over, and this is just a purely mechanical run from till the end.
Yeah, and to your point, it's actually easier than most runs because a lot of the boss fights become significantly easier. Ooh, check out Zenny with the sound clear there with the power bomb. That's nice.
Very nice triple key hunter kill.
Yeah, we need to ask Zost or somebody. The killing the 3rd key hunter saves. It's got to be single-digit frames. It's not much, but it is a little bit if you can pull it off. Usually, if you don't feel like you can get over there with your screw attack, you can just do the normal plasma strat there and still get really close to the same room time. Plus, you can be a little bit more cavalier in this category with your energy, simply because you just have more than you were probably going to need in most situations. Let's see if Zenny can get this. Oh, unfortunately, got a bad jump.
That is a very, very difficult trick. They were attempting to space jump through this room and then springball jump through the farming room.
Yeah, he got a good flower house, but then unfortunately ran into that platform there, but he's okay.
So at this point, little mistakes like that are everything. Losing 1 to 2 seconds in rooms here and there, that's what's going to decide this race. Cutie misses it, unfortunately. Cutie was practicing that before the race.
So one thing... Oh, I'm sorry, Faris, go ahead.
Zenny was going for a super kill. Done optimally, each super on Ridley will save 20 frames.
Yeah, supers are faster. I was going to talk about this fight a little bit, but it's so short in this category, it's kind of hard. But this fight actually still is a really big deal in this category because even though it's a shorter fight, it's still a significant, like if you have a bad fight, it can really change your overall time in your run. And I do like him using supers. However, like this is very complex, but depending on what happens for the rest of the run and what also other strats he decides to run and also what drops he gets, sometimes firing that many supers at Ridley can actually end up being slower in the long run. but it really just depends. So it looks like Cutie didn't fire any supers. So he didn't get any super time save, but he will leave this room with pretty much full soups.
Oh, Zeni accidentally laying a power bomb there. But just before that, did get the super swag spring wall jump through the platforms.
You'll note that Zeni actually used what I refer to as the new route wasteland, reverse wasteland strat, which I always found really fascinating because there's all kinds of fun, cool strats you can do in that room with spring ball and all the rest of the stuff you have at this juncture of the run. But I still think that one it's either the fastest or it's like very close to being the absolute fastest. Maybe you could pull something slightly faster off with a bunch of crazy maneuvers that are a lot more difficult, but I always found that kind of funny that you're still using one of the more basic strats from one of the other runs.
For most of here to the end of the run, you're going to be using the same strats that more or less the same strats that you'd be using in New Route. There's some exceptions, but almost every room is the same.
Yeah, I think Zosh just mentioned that there's a spring ball Kego strat, but I think the one he's referring to is fairly complex. Like there was another one that I used for a long time, but it definitely was slower than the new route one. So I don't blame a runner who's unfamiliar with the category for using, strats they're already familiar with from other categories.
So one minor thing that happened earlier that we didn't mention was they both took off their Various suit while they were unequipping Spacer, and that is a good setup for stand-up glitch later.
It is. Although, and again, anybody can correct me if I'm wrong about some of this, but I actually think that it's not 100% mandatory because I do believe you have time when you get rainbowed, even if you're at full energy. Let's say you're going for the pauseless Torian or whatever. I think you have enough time to stand up and then damage down without having to take very off. But I do like it. Ooh, Zeni going with the swag Everest. That's a tough strat right there. Very nice.
Does that one actually save time?
Yes, and the reason it saves time, I tested this a little bit. There's not many people that go for that strat. The primary reason that saves time is not only due to Everest itself, but also because of the next room. The momentum that you carry in the next room adds to the overall time.
Ooh. Zeni going for the 3 plasma, 1 super kill. Slightly faster than the pure microwave kill.
Yeah, and Zeni's been getting some relatively decent drops. So his, again, it depends, but his super count is certainly more healthy than it could have been. So not bad. Did he? Okay, I think he realized that he was slightly off on his full halfie attempt, so he went for a halfie down grabbed and is now space jumping. That's actually one kind of interesting thing about this category. It penalizes you less for a missed full halfie than any percent or hundo would, for example, because you just have, space jump to bail you out a little bit.
Yeah, in order to even go for the full halfie in this category, you have to be very, very confident you can get it. Because instead of saving 7 or so seconds, it only saves a few.
So tell us about the stand-up animation Zeni's going to use here, Freyas.
So Dragon, when you kill Dragon will put you in a force standing animation, and so when Zeni stands up, he knows that Dragon is dead. Which is the same mechanic used for a blue suit.
And for the record, Spike's suit in this category is literally impossible because it's impossible to get a Spike suit with spring ball on. And before anybody in the chat says, no, you can actually do it, they're lying. It's impossible. Okay? I want everybody to understand that. Thank you.
We do believe that Josh got it earlier today.
Nope, it's never happened. Nobody can do it. Don't even go for it.
So it looks like Zeni has actually picked up a substantial lead right now. It looks like Zeni is just
Oof.
gaining time every single room.
That was hot there for a second. He almost got that. That's a pretty tough multi-room strat right there. But if you can get it, it's very fast. I don't personally go for it because I haven't practiced it enough. But very nicely done. I mean, and this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. You know, when you start talking about runners, you know, of like the caliber of Zeni or Cutie here, even if they don't run a category, they have so much experience that they can kind of figure stuff out fairly quickly and implement very fast, you know, faster than, you know, an average player. And so I'm not surprised to see a lot of advanced things happening here, even though they don't, you know, they haven't grinded this category yet.
Yeah, doubly so, because most of the rooms are the same as another category that they run, and they can learn the.
Oh, I'm sorry, Phrase. Go ahead.
And they can learn the new room quickly. You asked if Zeni got the springball jump there.
Yeah, the foosball.
No, we don't believe so.
I think he got it.
Oh, did he?
The thing about it is that always surprises me because I have literally practiced that and I've never gotten it. Like, not even one time in practice. So I don't know how you do it. I don't know how it works.
Chat saying that he did, so that is super impressive. So both of these players heading to Fantoon. For Fantoon, they are going to have to shoot Fantoon with a missile first, and then microwave Fantoon. So both of these players are going to do a speedball into Fantoon. And we have 10 seconds of RNG potentially here.
Yeah, this is kind of a big deal. You don't want to screw this fight up in this category. It's traditionally going to be a one round. And as Freya just mentioned, the difference between a fast and a slow is typically about 10 seconds. So let's see what we get here. Oh, we got a slow for Zeni.
That's some chance for ARealCutie to catch up a bit. Zeni with the on-screen microwave.
We got a bunch of know-it-alls in the chat saying all you gotta do is press a button. So I'm looking forward to coming to y'all's stream here in a little while and watching you practice it. We'll see what your success rate is.
You just get TaskBot to press the button for you.
Yeah, I get the same thing when I'm like, yo man, I got Blockbuster, and people are like, Blockbuster's so easy, and I'm like, oh yeah, really? And then usually it's not so easy. So all right, we got a slow for Cutie too, so there's not gonna be a difference in Fantoons.
Identical Fantoon fights.
Ooh, that was a hot shaft there by Zeni at the top. And he jumped a little early there. I actually like the play. That, you know, I can't speak for everybody. I think that wreck ship room, whatever you call it, the hallway is maybe one of the most annoying rooms in this entire run because it is so easy to bonk the door and lose your entire momentum, and it's a significant time loss. So I like it.
Yeah. So to add to what Kip's saying, when you're jumping, you move horizontally slightly slower, which makes it easier to not bonk the door. Zeni did not get the springball jump across the moat. Let's see if Cutie pulls it off.
Cutie had an extremely hot. Ooh,
there we go.
All right, hold on. Yeah, check Cutie's stream here. Very nice. He had a really nice wreck ship shaft, and then he pretty much nailed everything from there. Nicely done. Zeni, let's see, we're entering G4. The way I time it is on the door transition, so roughly a 27:40 and a half. Let's see how far behind Cutie is here.
So we're also curious what the time was entering at the GT code. Have they lost or gained time? We'd be really interested in seeing like full splits for this run, just to see where both of them gained and lost time.
I agree. If I had to guess, I would say Zeni might have pulled ahead by a few seconds, but it's pretty close. So 16 for Cutie. What was it for Zeni? 40.
42?
So he's about, yeah. So he's about 34 seconds ahead, something like that.
So let's see what the Metroid rooms are incredibly mechanically intense and technical. So this is going to be really exciting to watch for both players.
It is, and actually Zenny's super count got pretty healthy, so he ended up not really. He's not going to suffer any consequences from his earlier super spam. Although technically you still lose some here because you're not collecting like you are in most categories. Ooh boy! Oh my lord!
Unless you
Holy
grapple.
moly! That, I don't even know if I've seen a grapple like that, or maybe I just haven't been paying attention. Good God, Zenny! Holy moly!
Static has some 400 APM Metroid video
Dude,
where he grapples so many times.
What did we just witness? All 4 of those rooms were crazy. Wow.
That was amazing. Cutie fixing that so amazingly. Did you see how fast Cutie fixed that mistake?
Yeah. Yeah, both of these runners have phenomenal Torians.
Look at Cutie's
Excellent room 3 by
drops.
Cutie.
Look at Cutie's drops.
Oh, Zenny, did he get it? You've got to be kidding me. Holy
Wow!
moly.
Wow!
This is, and I'm not kidding, this is basically a god Torian. Like, this is insane how fast this Torian is. Well, I said that and then he went to save. But before that save, holy moly.
And he's going for that knowing that he's ahead in the race.
I don't even really get pumped up that often on commentary, but good grief. I am in
Then he
shock
remembered to save
right
the game.
now. Spring ball skip. We got another baby skip by Cutie.
And there we go. Oh, Zenny. Oh, you go for the second Zeb skip. So you don't have to take damage. So you don't have to pause.
That's right.
We get it.
So he is in the realm of being able to do this pauseless. Also, Cutie didn't save. So what we basically have, I think maybe a better way to time this out would have been, well, I guess the code is a good one, but also don't forget that we had Zenny save before Lower North Fair, and I don't think Cutie did. So I think Zenny's got 2 saves where Cutie doesn't have any. So if you were to potentially take those off, I think Zenny's run might be slightly faster on execution. But yeah, Zenny's going to be able to have a pauseless Torian here. Very nice.
This execution for Zenny has been amazing. Cutie has had wonderful execution too, and Cutie is a super high level player, which just goes to show how amazing what Zenny is pulling off is.
Well, let's look forward for just a moment. Clearly the run isn't over, but, you know, if things hold to their current situation, then Zenny's going to win fairly comfortably here. So that would mean that the final week 6 matchup, we only have 2 people left in round 6 undefeated, and that'll be Zenny and Zost. The category loadout for next week is any percent, low percent ice, and triple bingo. Now, I'm almost 100% certain that Zost is going to ban triple bingo, which basically leaves, you know, low percent and any percent. And you know, again, it just depends on your strategic decision. I don't really know if anybody in the world is overly looking forward to racing any percent against Zost right now. But at the same time, Zenny doesn't have a ton of experience with low percent ice, and Zost is extremely good at that category. So this is going to be an interesting strategic and execution matchup next week, assuming that this holds here.
We would fully expect the race to be low ice. We would expect Zenny to veto any percent. Zenny has a ton of experience with Ridley. And every top player has fought Mother Brain a million times, so.
That is true. That's true. Of course, you never know. I mean, you never know. He might decide that he wants to practice 80% this week and ban low ice, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
That is true, because both Zeni and Zeus have already made the playoffs, so next week is essentially a fun match for Pride.
That's a good point.
Which will not affect the seeding at all.
I wish I could get a week 6 low ice match for Pride.
More interesting is who are going to be the 4-1 players who get matched with each other. Right now we have Sloters, Lake Demon, Kip, Ajder, FBS, and Cutie, and we're gonna have 2 of Aussie, Derp, Gala, Giggles, and Toasty.
Well, GG to ShinyZeni, finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 34 minutes and 39 seconds. And if I am not mistaken, that is the fastest GT Classic time in this tournament by 1 second. So congratulations to ShinyZeni for running the fastest GT Classic time with 2 saves, no less. Nicely done. And coming right in behind him, ARealCutie, finishing in second place with an official SRL time of 35 minutes and 14 seconds.
GG Zeni and GG Cutie, both of them played amazingly. Put in an amazing race. No major mistakes by either of them.
Yeah, that was a great race, and we were treated to several advanced strats by both players. Well done, gentlemen. Let's see if we can get either one of them in for an interview.
And while we're waiting on the interview, tomorrow, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, we are going to have 6 matches, and then 4 matches on Sunday for the end of week 5. So we are joined by Zeni. How are you feeling?
That was really intense.
When you say intense, are you talking about Torian?
That was a real PB for me, actually.
With saves, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, with 2 saves and the safety strats. So that's it's pretty crazy. And yeah, Turian obviously was super intense.
Yeah, talk me through that real quick, Zeni, because I gotta admit, man. I mean, like, you know, I watch a lot of streams and stuff, but I don't say this very often. But that looked to me like about as perfect of a entry tutorial to the mother brain save as you could get. Was there anything in there that you could have technically done faster, knowing your own play?
I didn't get the Metroid Room 3 spring ball through the door strat.
Okay,
That's
the only thing.
Yep.
Man, that was incredible. Nicely done.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was trying to keep tabs on how far ahead I was going into Turian so that I could decide whether or not it was worth going for the spring ball skip. And I decided I was just far enough ahead that I was pretty sure I could pull it off even if I missed. I'm not 100% confident in that, but I was confident enough that I went for it, and it paid off. So, because like I said, I knew that I was on PB pace too, you know, and I didn't want to throw that away necessarily. So,
definitely understandable. So tell us a little bit, if you don't mind, about, you know, let's focus on this particular race. I assume you probably figured you'd be running this category tonight based on, you know, the strengths and weaknesses, if you will, of you know, each runner in each matchup. Obviously, I think this one was sort of an easy one to predict because you're the world's foremost RBO player. Cutie is, you know, an absolutely phenomenal 80% runner, which 80% all bosses is not exactly the same thing, but it's very, very close. So probably figured you'd do GT Classic. How did you prep for it? And then looking forward, what are you looking forward to with match, you know, and with Zost in round 6?
well, I mean, Kip, I told you last week on Strat Chat that the obvious choice this week was RBO, obviously. And so, Cutie pulled this fast one on me when we're vetoing tonight, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? No, sarcasm aside, it was pretty obvious that we were going to be running GT Classic. He's way better than I am at any percent, and he's never run RBO before. So, that made it pretty clear. I was planning to kind of prep, every day this week, maybe do 1 or 2 GT Classic runs, but I didn't actually get to play it all yesterday or the day before. And on top of that, the GDQ event this weekend, Corona Relief, they put my 100% run in that on Sunday. So I've been trying to kind of split my focus with practice, because I wanted to put on a good show tonight as well. So like today, the time that I spent practicing, I did 1 run through the 100% stuff earlier today, and then I think I did like 4 or 5 runs through the GT Classic route, starting in Brintstar and just going from there. It's been a pretty long day, but it seems like it paid off, because I got that PB and I won the race. So
It definitely did. GG on that victory.
Where's Cutie? Is he not coming to interview?
No, he's gonna
he'll
pass
pass
on the interview.
Oh, all right.
Freya, you have any other questions for Zenny?
Yeah, what category do you want to race Zost in next week?
Let's see. It's low ice, any percent, or triple bingo.
Yep, and you've both already made the playoff, so that will not affect whether you make the playoffs or not.
Yeah, I mean, I would keep it a secret, but there isn't really any point. So I'm not going to run low ice, and he's not going to run triple bingo. So I guess we'll be doing any percent, and I'm going to get absolutely destroyed. So awesome. I'm ready.
So, I mean, in theory, the two of you guys could meme it up like some of the other races. Can't you just do, could y'all, technically, is max percent GT considered any a form of any percent?
I mean, yeah,
something random.
technically, yeah, we could, agree to run anything, I guess.
Well,
but-
as an organizer, I want to say on record that I would appreciate people sticking to the categories that they're But anyway, I'll leave it.
Well, as you know, Zost is Mr. Serious. He never has fun with this game. He's all business all the time. So, I'd say you can probably expect a pretty vanilla any percent run next week.
I'm expecting a multi-Troid. It's just going to be the two of y'all playing at the same time, and then you're going to tie because you both won.
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, but thank you, Zenny, for the interview. And in all seriousness, good luck tomorrow with your run for the GDQ fundraiser. That's really awesome. And obviously, you've been running a lot of 100%, lately with your streams and stuff. So should be a lot of fun to see. And definitely looking forward to seeing you next week against Zost in the final Swiss round of this tournament. So do you have anything else you'd like to add before you step away?
Just I'm probably just as excited as you are for the race next week. I always love racing Zost, and I don't think I ever have raced him in like a vanilla category, so that'll be awesome. And as always, I know I say this every time, but thank you to the organizers for putting the tournament on. Thank you to our sponsors for sponsoring us and helping to grow the game. And I definitely look forward to next week and also the playoffs. So
sounds good. Well, GG to you. And I'll also, Freyas, I'll let you wrap us up. I really appreciate you letting me step in to join you on the commentary. It was a lot of fun, and I think you have great commentary always, so it's been a pleasure. And I'll let you close.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that you joined us on this. It's always wonderful to commentate with you. Make sure that you follow these runners, and make sure you follow our co-commentator Kip. And thank you so much to Zeni and Cutie for putting on an amazing race. And we're really, really looking forward to the last week of the Swiss rounds and the playoffs after that. And there are going to be 6 matches tomorrow starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then 4 matches on Sunday to close out week 5. And with that, we will see you all next mission.